Hey everybody, it's me, Rick Acosta, the Dodger Card Collector, coming to you with another video. Today is Sunday, March 24th. We are 4 or 5 days away from opening day. Yes, I know the Dodgers and the Padres opened this past week in Korea, but the rest of Major League Baseball will start on Thursday, I believe. So looking forward to that. I've already bought my 2024 Topps Dodger team set, Series 1, so I'm all set there. I am awaiting, I believe, the second week of April, Topps Heritage will release their new set, and that's based off the 1975 Topps set. So I will pick up my Dodger team set from there, and I am set with my modern cards. Till summer when Series 2 Topps comes out, and then the update comes out around the World Series, and the 1975 Topps Heritage high numbers usually come out somewhere around Thanksgiving. So got some modern stuff coming my way, so that's always good. Uh, Wanted to address some comments from my previous couple of my previous shows. Um, First, I want to thank you all for your kind words in regards to Sadie, my cat, passing away. Uh, it's not easy. It's been a month, and it's already been a month. And you have to learn to adjust to coming home to an empty house. And an empty house is a very quiet house. In fact, the quiet was literally so deafening. I had to leave the house last weekend, and I went up to the Central Coast, one of my favorite spots in the world, and actually checked out some baseball cards in an antique store. There was a seller. They had some reprints because I saw 53 Bowman Mantle and a 56 Clemente. They just looked extremely too white in regards to the borders, and extremely too nice. And they also had a lot of vintage cards that were trimmed. I saw a 1941 play ball Archie Vaughan card that was trimmed, and it was he had some okay cards in there. I saw a 67 Stargell. I saw a completely thrashed 58 Topps Willie Mays, and a 69 Mantle. They were just brutal, total paper loss. It was ridiculous, but still, it was fun to look at, and it was nice to get away. I've learned with I was listening to Chris Fowler from ESPN. He actually posted a couple of videos in the past week about his dog passing, and he brought up the whole subject about his dogs. He had 4 dogs and a cat that have passed over the years, and he just wanted to discuss about it. And one of the things I really appreciated was I felt I had a lot in common with what he had to say, and it makes me realize that I'm not a crazy person for the way I feel. And the one thing that he just said is you need time. And I know that's what I need. I need time just to get through this. It's been a month. I have spent a lot of my time trying to be busy with family and friends, wanting to invite me over and trying to keep me out of the house on the weekends. That's helped. Believe it or not, also card collecting has really helped. I went to a couple of local card shows, small card shows that I rarely would ever think of going to, but I just needed to get out of the house, and just looking at cards and saying hello to sellers and talking about baseball cards, you'd be surprised how better that makes you feel, even if it's just for a couple of hours while you look at cards. So I have definitely bought some cards, which I will show off here in a moment. Um, but yeah, I wanted to talk about that. Thank you again for your kind comments in regards to Sadie. I had another question that I really should have addressed in my 1941 play ball video. As most of you know who are followers of mine, I completed the set, and I posted a recap of what I had done and how I felt and all those type of good things. But there was one thing I left out, and I was happy that Mitch from Mitch's Vintage Collection reached out to me last night, actually. And he asked me, I'm paraphrasing here, he asked me if I bought all the cards graded, or did I buy any ungraded or raw and submit them in for submission to PSA. And the answer to that is no. That's the short answer. The long answer is every card I bought was graded PSA. I had reached a point in the last 4 or 5 cards that I was starting to look at ungraded cards. I was starting to look at some SGC cards, especially when it came to Cecil Travis. There was one that I was particularly eyeing, and George Case. I was eyeing both of those, but in both cases, I started doing the pros and cons and started thinking about how much this is going to cost me, and or how long is PSA going to sit on the cards. And it's like a buddy of mine said, well, you have peace of mind knowing that you have the set, but it's just 2 of the cards were at PSA. And I'm like, nah, yeah, I don't want to wait till September to get my cards back. So in the end, I did get lucky, and all the cards that I purchased from that 1941 play ball set were already PSA graded. So thanks, Mitch, for asking me that. I appreciate it. That's something I should have brought up in the original video. So now with the 41 play ball set out of the way, where am I? How do you move on from a set that took up a lot of time for me? And frankly, just I spent a lot of time looking at eBay and auction houses, and it was funny when that ended. All of a sudden, I go, wow, I have a lot of time on my hands. And I mentioned in my previous video that the first couple of weeks, I kept my 1941 play ball PSA search open in eBay just to see what cards were popping up, and that was just making me miserable. So I started analyzing, well, look how much they paid for this card, and I got rid of that. So we got rid of the search. As you know, I always have a small net, and I realized that my net had, with 1941 out of the way, had come down to basically 1963. That's only down to a few cards. I'm going to update you on that in a moment. So you either don't buy cards, you just stare at cards, or you start a new set. And in my case, as I mentioned in the last video, I started a 1968 top set. And I'll go into more detail with that when I pick up some more cards. But the reason I picked that set was it was a set that I worked on as a child. And it would have been my oldest set. When I was 15 or 16, that would have been my oldest set. And in probably just a stupid move, I just sold, I had probably maybe 3/4 of the set, and I just sold it. I sold it because I was looking for a job. And I remember, and this was way pre-internet, but there was a company who had advanced leads on jobs. I was all at 21. And I go, they had better leads than the newspaper did. The Sunday newspaper, remember, used to have job ads, for those of you who remember that. So I paid for this service to help me look for a job. So in order to pay for them, I sold my 1968 set, my partial 1968 set, and I believe like a partial 1970 set. At the end of the day, I ended up keeping my job, so it was a waste of time and money. But anyway, I started on a 1968 set. This past weekend, I went, yesterday actually, I went to Burbank Card Store, because they have boxes and boxes of commons of vintage cards. And I knew they had a wide range of 1968. And I already had roughly 350 1968 cards. And I knew, though, that without sounding arrogant, I know this is going to be kind of a pretty easy set to work on. Yeah, I mean, there's Ryan and there's Bench and Mantle, but compared to what I've been through, this will be easy. So I went to Burbank yesterday, and I bought like 130 commons. And when I say commons, I mean, I'm talking real commons. The commons not even good enough to show you guys. There are guys like Rick Wise in there, and Phil Regan, and Ken Boyer. Guys like, I mean, cards that cost me $1 each, but they look really nice. So I am down to, I got roughly 80% of the set. So I think going forward, as I start picking up some stars and bringing up some memories, you'll start seeing more 1968 cards. Today, I'm only going to show you a handful, but I just wanted to show you guys what I'm up to. So today, we're going to catch up on where I am set-wise. I'm going to show you some cards that I picked up over the last few weeks. The next video or two, I think, are going to be pickups. and I can let you guys know where I am exactly in my collecting focus these days. So let's turn the camera around and we'll take a look at some cards. All right, so we're ready to go. These are all eBay pickups. I would say these are from the past 2 to 4 weeks. And like I said, I'll just show you what I'm currently up to. As I've mentioned to you, I'm working on a 1968 set, and at the same time, I am working on the 1968 Topps game set, and I was able to pick up an Al Kaline. So Al Kaline's the first one. And let's see, I picked up one more, and that is Orlando Cepeda. So I picked up a couple of Hall of Famers there from eBay. And I think I've got 7 of the 33 cards that are needed to complete this set. So that's a good one to work on. Let's see. I also have picked up a 1950 Bowman Willard Marshall. And as most of you know, when I can't find a card at a card show, or for those of you who buy cards from Greg Morris on eBay, he combines shipping on anything you win in 7 days. And sometimes when I only win a card, I decide, well, let's try to add some cards over the next few days to try to warrant the postage. And then my last thing is when I can't find something from a set that I'm really, really working on, I look to 1950 Bowman. And in this case, I found this Willard Marshall card from the Boston Braves. I don't know if I just said Milwaukee, but that's Willard Marshall. So that means I now have, I believe, 31 of the 252 cards. So I've got some commons along with the entire Dodger team set, which includes Jackie Robinson. And then I have Bob Feller and Richie Ashburn. One of the sets that I'm starting to work, I don't even know if you want to say work on. These are kind of hard to find, but this is a 1960 Morrell Meats Wally Moon. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with this set, there are 3, they came out over 3 years, 1959, 1960, and 1961. The 1959 and the 1960 sets, they're all Dodgers, by the way, 12 cards each in each set. And in 1961, they are 6 cards. So most of the cards have backgrounds of when the Dodgers played in the LA Coliseum. There are a couple of exceptions. Now, this one, though, I happen to find purely just because I just happen to be scouring eBay. This card is a PR1 because of the paper loss right there and right there. Now, I'm not generally one that looks, yes, I look at condition, but I don't obsess over it. What I was more obsessed with was the card is still in really good shape. You see the Coliseum in the background. You see somebody walking in the background over there. The seller for this card only asked $18 for it and free shipping. And I figured if this little mark here and that little mark there make this a 1, I'll take it any day of the week. These cards are not easy to find. And when you do find them, they were mixed like with bologna and hot dogs. And so they have stains on them. So it's hard to find one in really nice shape. And you'll see there's the, in the back here, there's the stats. So I picked up this Wally Moon. Like I said, it was $18. I go, what more could I? And like you're saying, well, what does everything else cost for? A Sandy Koufax goes for at least several $100s. So that's Wally Moon. And then I happened to pick up one more. I actually bought this one first. And this is a 1961 Morrell Meats card of Don Drysdale on a PSA 4. Now, the background for this, a lot of you are going to be familiar with. This is Wrigley Field, Los Angeles. For those of you that watched Home Run Derby, which is an incredible show, it was filmed in Los Angeles at Wrigley Field, home of the Los Angeles Angels minor league team. When the Dodgers moved to California, O'Malley bought Wrigley Field and found it way too small for the Dodgers, so obviously he moved to the Coliseum. But while Dodger Stadium was being built, the Los Angeles Angels became an expansion team for 1961. Dodger Stadium wasn't ready yet, so they moved into Wrigley Field in 1961 for one season. It's a pretty neat stadium when you watch it on TV. I drive by it now. It's like in one of the worst parts of LA. They tore down the stadium, but it's still a park with a baseball field, and it's pretty nasty. But one of the things about 1961, as I mentioned, there are 6 cards. The Koufax and the Drysdale cards are the same image as the 1959 image. Those are the only 2 that kind of have a repeat image. Everybody else is different throughout the set. The one thing that's different here, obviously for the 61 version, is the back does carry 1959 and 1960 stats. So, and to be transparent on the price, just so you know what I'm paying, and I'm not paying a fortune. This card cost me $59. I think the VCP is like 75 or 80 bucks. But someday I'd like to keep building this slowly. I have 3 ungraded cards. I'd like to see if I can find all the cards graded now, but it'll take some time. So those are the Morrell Meats cards. Okay, the rest of these are 1963. I am getting closer and closer here. So let's start off. My first card here is Warren Spahn. And I'm at the point with this set where I had already made up in my mind who I'm going to buy graded, who I'm going to buy ungraded. And sometimes if you just find good deals, if I say I'm going to buy a card ungraded, but I find a great deal of that card graded, I'll do it. Same thing happens here. If I say I want to buy a card graded, but I find a nice card from a reputable dealer ungraded, I'll do it. And in this case, that's what I did. And that's, so I got Warren Spahn. It's a great pose. I love those Braves uniforms. I'm assuming this is the Polo Grounds in the background. I'm assuming that. Warren Spahn. The next ungraded card is going to be Willie McCovey, Big Mac. And here's another one where I saw the prices for the graded, and I liked this card ungraded. And you know, sometimes I just want I would love to have, like, all my 70s cards are ungraded, so they all look nice in the binders. So my 60s and 50s sets, there's holes in the binders, and I just make photocopies and put them in for the graded cards where it should be in a binder. But that's Willie McCovey. And then the last 2 are graded, and I picked up the Power Plus card. Got a great deal on this. This is another eBay buy. So that's Ernie Banks and Henry Aaron. Power Plus. And the last card I won from Brockelman Auctions. It's the first time I've ever won from them. And I won this Willie Mays card in a 4.5, SGC 4.5. So Willie Mays. This is my first time buying a card from them, and I got a good deal on them. So I was very pleased to get this. So there's Willie Mays. So with the cards that I've showed you today, I am down to 5 more 1963 cards. Who are the 5? Bob Gibson, Lou Brock, Tom Tresh, Roberto Clemente, and Willie Stargell. And I have a good line on 2 more. I'm actually predicting that I'm going to win them, but I could be wrong there. So I'm down to 5 cards when it comes to this set. So we're getting close there, and gonna take my time just because I can, and it's you don't always have to be in a hurry to buy cards. But these were my pickups for today. And if you stuck around this long, thanks so much. And we'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.
It's a beautiful day for a ball game, today. If you and I are out of dollars and cents,